Basically, this is going into my phone, and then from right or left, panned, click, I have pan to the left, track, I have pan to the right, and then obviously pan. The send effects is all the way up, so then I go send master halfway from this output, or this send out, so this sends all this green sends, so that goes into front of house DI box. Then from there, front of house can go from either I have a 1/4 inch output or XLR output they can go from. And then from the TM-2, I have my trigger plugged in to the bass drum. 1 foot cable going into this trigger DI box I use. And then from the 1/4 inch output from that, I have going into my mixer so I can have my own mix. And then from the output, the front of house can control that. So after you get that set up, the sound guy will have 2 channels, one for your trigger, one for your samples. And then I have a extra channel here that I use to monitor my drums. So I stick a tom mic on my snare and point it at the kit. Or the last Geno show, I had a wedge monitor. I took the cable from that and plugged it right into the mixer. And I had the sound guys mix right in the mixer. I wanted to make a quick video on how to set up an in-ear mix using samples, whether it be backing tracks or interludes, intros, whatever, with a click, running a TM-2 trigger, and possibly another mic to monitor your drums, or getting a feed from the front of house for a mix. It took me a while to figure this out. There was a lot of people on the Metal Drummer Nerds page that reached out and talked me through it and helped me figure it out. But I couldn't find like any videos on YouTube that like specifically had this setup with the TM-2. With the trigger, like death metal setup. So I'll link a video in the description as well for I can't remember his name right now, but he had a great video explaining the basics, but I kind of had to figure out for my setup how to include the TM-2 with that. So I'm just going to start first with your tracks that you're going to be having like on stage. With your clicks, you want to, whatever DAW you're using, you want to render right and left, so you want to have different pans. So for your clicks, you want to have either pan left or right, and the backing track samples, you want to have panned right or left. So opposite pans for each of those. Whatever you want front of house, pan one side. Whatever you want in your ears, like vocal cues, anything like that, pan to the opposite side. He explains in the videos exactly what you need for this setup, all the cables and cords. He did a great job explaining that. So you're going to take, I have an iPhone, it's 1/8 inch stereo, plug that in there, plug that into my iPhone, and that's a splitter. It splits into 2 mono 1/4 inch cables. Red is right. So if you got a red cable, it's right side. This is left, which I put a backwards L on, I guess. Anyways, so from your phone or your device, your iPad, whatever, you're going to go to these couple channels here. So I've got this mixer. This is a Harbinger LV8. This case, I got lucky with a band member. His work was just like getting rid of this. It already had foam in it. I've got another piece of foam that I'm eventually going to like set all these things into. I just wanted to like run it a few times before I set it in stone, so to speak. Okay, so back to these 2 cables here. On the right, I have backing tracks. So you have backing tracks here. And then on the left, I have click. So I'm going to go into the mono inputs here. So that's sending what's on my phone or device into the mixer. I've got these panned accordingly, left and right, left, right. How you're going to send that to the front of house So you're going to send your tracks to the front of house. This mixer has a FX send. So the FX send, I'm going to turn that all the way up. The send master, I put about halfway. And the gain, obviously, just turn that up accordingly to your thing and make sure it's not peaking or clipping too much. So then to send that out, I got the send master turned up, the send effects on the track, and I have this 1/4 inch here. You're gonna want a couple 1 foot 1/4 inch cables. So from the send out, that's gonna send all of these effect sends to this output right here. So from here, I have into a DI box. Now, I have 2 DI boxes. If you have a dual DI box, that would work much better. I couldn't find a dual DI box for sale as quickly as I wanted, so I already had this DI box, and then I bought this DI box. So if you had a dual DI box, it would save a little bit of space, and it would just keep everything kind of all in one. So all I have to do is, I have a cable, like a 1/4 inch, a really long 1/4 inch cable, just in case the sound guy needs a cable, or in my case, they just grabbed an XLR, went out of the output of the XLR, that went to front of house, done, all done. So to get my TM-2 and the click, so the clicks are already set, so I can plug my headphones in and I can hear my clicks, I can hear the tracks. I play the clicks and guitar tracks, just like from our album, just to make it easy. So the TM-2, it's pretty straightforward. RT10, I plug that into my trigger, and then here I have cable going from the mono out to the input of my trigger DI box. So I call these, this is my trigger DI box, this is my click DI box. So my trigger DI box go out from the TM2 into the trigger, and then out. We have 2 outputs here. So front of house, to get their own mix of the trigger, the kick, they're going to go out of the XLR, and then I went out of the 1/4 inch and into this channel here for my kick signal. You know, I can control all that on my own. I can EQ it how I want, because it's really important for me to have like a lot of kick in my monitors. And then I also got this idea from Craig Reynolds and a few other people, that I have another channel here open for tom mic that I stick on my snare, that I kind of point it at the drum set to get a mix of the drums, so I'm just not completely drowned out by the click track and the backing tracks. Or what I did the last show is I had a wedge monitor, and I asked the sound guy if I could take the wedge monitor input, and I plugged it right in here. So I had my own personal mix from the sound guy right here, and it worked out great. Power supply for everything to plug into. I've got a long enough headphone extension. I could plug that right into my mixer for my ears. And everything's great, man. I love it. The band, it was our first show with like an intro and like a bass drop and all that. I put into the DAW program how I want, and I like made an interlude, and it just makes your live show so much better and entertaining for the crowd, and just more seamless too. We don't really stop during the set, you know, there's interludes in between songs. I wanted to make this video, it's a little longer than I wanted, but I couldn't find any TM2 related videos on setting up in-ear mix for death metal drums. If there's any videos out there, please, you know, share them. Let me know, because I like to see other people's setups. I've seen a lot of setups, like pictures of setups, which have helped. But there wasn't any videos like going into details. Like I would see pictures and I would see all these cables. I'm like, okay, what's plugged into what? Where is everything? where's everything routed, where's everything going. I recently made a post in the group that was saying basically the same thing, that I couldn't figure it out. And then there's a lot of people that commented as well that were just, you know, didn't really know how to do it either. So yeah, I hope this helps some people, and this is like my first legit video, so I want to put it out there. Peace.